of my best friends from high school, John Paul Leon, he went to a school called SVA, School of Visual Arts. It's also in Manhattan. And so he had his group of friends through SVA that were also into comics. And so we would hang out and we would like, show each other work. And but it was still like a very kind of like a very small group. And John Paul, he had met through his friends at SVA a guy named Michael Davis. Michael Davis was running, he had a studio called Bad Boy Studio. He also had a program called DC New Talent Program. It's loosely affiliated with DC. He was doing stuff for DC at the time.
Yeah.
And so we'd go to Michael's house every week, I want to say Thursday.
Wow.
And we'd sit there and listen to him talk about comics. And he wouldn't really teach us about storytelling or art per se. He'd teach us about the business of comics and really kind of like nailed into us like
what do you remember all these years later about
well, the business of comics is just you have to treat it like a business, right? You have to treat it like work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're college students wearing jeans, sneakers, t-shirts, whatever. Even though now fashion is
changed.
Yeah, right. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm serious about this. I want to work. I don't want to like I want to stay in New York, right? Make a go of it, and this is what I want to do. So, and we went. John Paul and I would go to. He had actually got work fairly quickly. He had drawn like a RoboCop book for Dark Horse. But Michael had said to me, myself and John, he was like, this was around March of 1992. So I went to his class for like 3 months. And he was like, look, you guys got to save up money and come out to San Diego at the end of the summer. And because we had gone to a couple small shows in New York and showed our portfolio around, to different artists and stuff. There was even a story where I like called up 411, got the number of Marvel Comics, called in. I had the book with me. Hey, can I speak with so-and-so, like the editor? And they patched me right through. And I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I even submitted artwork and got, like, rejection letters.
Yep.
I have one from, like, Bobby Chase.
Oh, wow.
Every time I see her, I remind her. Right? So...
But that's something that was common. Jim Lee himself got, shows them
and
off.
they would write back. They would write back. It's a different kind of... they're much more... Even when you went to conventions back then, the editors were situated at, like, standalone tables, and then people would wait in line, half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour with their portfolio in hand, and then just pop it in front of the editor, and the editor would look through it, and then, so you had an opportunity to really show your work. Now I think it's a little bit more different. We live in a very litigious society. It's even harder for writers to break in now.
Yeah.
So anyways, Michael suggested that John Paul and I go to San Diego. We saved up our money. We like shared a hotel room. We had all of our artwork ready. Every day we went down there. I think it was only 3 days back then.
Wow.
And it was in August, not in July. And
what year was this for San Diego?
1992.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Image was just coming to be.
Image had come out the year before, or so. A couple years before that, right? And Valiant was just beginning. Valiant had just come out maybe a couple years too.
Mm-hmm.
The Death of Superman, I think, had just...
I think they were 92, 93, something in that range,
maybe,
right?
Well, maybe Death of Superman was afterwards, yeah. I think, that was afterwards. But it was a small show. I mean, the convention center was half the size, literally, because they didn't build the extension yet.
Wow.
And even it was half of the half, so it was only a quarter of the size. And downtown San Diego was like dead. It was like a...
So funny.
It was a zombie area. Yeah.
Now it's the opposite.
We stayed at the Radisson Suites, which is in the very northern part of downtown. They didn't have I don't remember them having a bus service, so we had to walk all the way down. And you're walking through like neighborhoods that are just completely empty and dead. There's like homeless and...
Wow.
Whereas now, like, it's all restaurants and bars, and it's like jam-packed, exact opposite. And Michael brought John Paul and I around to all of his contacts, all those people that he knew at DC and at other comic book companies. We didn't visit anybody at Marvel that weekend because he was very, at the time, all of his connects were at DC, and he didn't want us to work at Marvel.
Yeah.
At the same time, that summer, he, along with Dennis Cowan, Derek Dingle, and Dwayne McDuffie, were preparing to launch Milestone.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it was to try to find work, but if that didn't happen, then John Paul and I were up for drawing Static.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either him or me. And on the very last day, very last hour of the show before we had to go to the airport, on the way out, the booth right next to the exit door was a small company called Valiant. And throughout that whole weekend, you kept hearing buzz about like this new company, Valiant, like some of their books.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know what they were. I just knew the traditional Marvel DC stuff. So I'm like, hey, John, let's just wait in line here. And I mean, they're right by the door. The line doesn't seem that long. And let's see what happens, right? It's one last portfolio review. So he's like, all right. So we wait in line. John, there's Bob Layton and Barry Windsor Smith were looking at portfolios. So Barry Windsor Smith got to see John Paul, and then I got to see Bob Layton. And Bob looks through my stuff, and Bob, is credited with much of like Iron Man, a lot of one of the greatest modern day Marvel creators.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Bob looked at my stuff and he was like, "Oh, this is a great kid." And Bob has a very, very loud personality and very engaging. And he's like, "Oh, this is great. Really love this stuff. Really like what you're doing here. I can see this. Okay. And when you come back to school in September, give me a call. I got some work for you." Right. So okay, well, Bob, here is a copy of my samples. So I photocopied every single page that I had, wrote my name, phone number on there, and it's like, "Would you like a copy of my samples to take with you so you can remember who I am?" He's like, I don't need it. Don't worry about it. And when he did that, I thought, oh, man.
I'm not going to get anything.
He's just, shoot. Yeah, he's not really.
Yeah, he's not serious about giving me work.
Because everybody else took samples.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody else also, we'll try to get you work or whatever. And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's not going to happen. But whatever. We gave it a shot. Barry loved John Paul stuff. So we get in the airplane. We fly back to Miami. The hurricane hit. What was the big Category 5 hurricane? I can't believe Andrew.
Okay.
Andrew hit like a couple weeks later.
Yeah. Like
a week or so later. And I redid all my entire portfolio. Redrew all the pages. Redrew like 8-10 pages. And during that time, Michael called me up. They said they had made a decision on Static, that they were going to go with John Paul. So you asked me earlier if there was ever a time where like I was kind of
that's it. I'm not going to make it in comics, or like a low point for you.
Yeah, because we had just gone through. I tried for 1 year, right? So this has been about 1 year of doing sequential artwork, doing sample pages, going to a few shows, going to San Diego, showing my work to all these editors. Everyone's saying that they like the work, but no one's giving me any job offers, right? I'm here. I'm entering my third year at Pratt now. Not really liking architecture that much, although I'm beginning to like it a little bit more at this time.
Yeah.
But I put all this effort in, and it hasn't really bared any fruit. And so there was actually a moment where, I cried.
Yeah.
It was
It's tough, man. Whenever you're putting your heart and soul into something and you're like, okay, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it doesn't, it's something that you're just like, is it ever going to happen?
It was another setback. It was something that I, anticipated. Part of it, too, you want to have confidence in your work, right? So
absolutely.
I mean, I had a lot of confidence in my work. I always felt like at every stage I was at least a little bit more advanced than other peers.
Yeah.
And but at that time, everything was a rejection. But Michael's like, "Don't worry." I mean, I didn't cry on the phone with Michael.
Yeah.
I cried afterwards.
Yeah.
And part of it was too. Is like, man, I want to start working. I want to start making money. I was
of course
20 years old, It's like I need to start working. I don't want to wait. And Michael's like, don't worry. When you come back to school in the fall, stop by the office and we'll get you like a fill-in issue or something. So I think this was like first week of September. Get back to Pratt. Get back to Brooklyn. First thing is I call up. I meet with Dwayne McDuffie. I go in. I show Dwayne like my new drawings, my new pages. And he's like, this is great stuff, but we don't have any work for you right now. Just to be honest, we don't have any work with you right now. We're just so busy launching the four books. They had Static, Icon, Hardware, and Blood Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even have any inventory stories yet. So they probably won't have any inventory stories until maybe September. This is September right now. So it's maybe November. I'm like,
I don't want to wait 2 months without work.
Yeah, man, you guys said I would have work. You guys said I have stuff starting in September, right? And then this was even like going back to like earlier in the summer and stuff. They kept saying that there'd be work, but every time I
go there, it'd be
like, no, there's no work. I'm like, look, thank you very much, Dwayne. So after the meeting, I went down to the street. I think their office was on 14th or 23rd Street, something like that. And there was a payphone. And I had Bob's number on me. I called, put a quarter in, called Bob, said, Bob, hey, this is Bernard. Remember we met at San Diego? He's like, yeah, when can you come in? I think it was a Monday. So I said, come in on Wednesday. I said, all right, come in on Wednesday. I got some stuff for you. So I'm like, hey, whatever. I've heard that. Right.
You've heard that. We'll see if it's true.
Yeah. So then Wednesday I go in. And also, mind you, like this is going back to Michael Davis. I'm wearing a shirt, collar shirt with a tie, slacks, dress shoes. I'm not, sneakers or anything. I'm like dressed up.
You're
like
a
jacket.
professional.
Yeah. I'm like going in for a regular
job interview.
And Bob sits me down and he just looks through. I said, Bob, I read through all the pages that based on the comments that you gave me and other editors. And he looked at it and he's like, oh, this is great, kid. Okay, all right, here's your first story. So I was like, wow.
That was easy.
Right? And he's like, this is, you're gonna I have the perfect project for you. You're gonna do a fill-in issue on Archer and Armstrong.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be Barry Windsor Smith's book, and I was gonna be drawing issue number 9. It's gonna be the first fill-in issue. He'd been done. I think at the time he was maybe working on 6 or 7.